Okay. Good morning, all, and welcome for today's training. And today's training will be based on TiOC 2.0 3-in-1 camera based on the WeSense 3 product category. So for more other guys who are still joining the training, just ensure that your mics are turned off so that we minimize noise disruptions. So let's proceed. So with today's topic, all about the TiOC 2.0, and that's basically going to give you that effective deterrence against the intruders. So we'll take a look at more of these concepts highlighted on this first page, the other subsequent pages. So for today's training, first of all, the training is divided into 4 parts. The first part is basically doing an introduction overview of the product, getting to understand what TiOC is, and taking a look at some TiOC family products. The second part, describing some of the key highlighted features for the TiOC, whereby they're listed here. You can see them. We have the smart door lighting, the voice catcher, better images, ecosystem, and the other artificial intelligence features included into this TiOC product. So the third part will be taking a look at the application scenarios where we can use these cameras for active deterrence in different places, for example, public areas and private areas again. Then the last part will be taking a look at the product information, that is the TiOC product information based on the different camera types that we have, for example, the bullets and the eyeballs, and some of the features that have been included into this TiOC 2.0 that were not in the other previous TiOC platform. So let's start. So what is TiOC? So in this case, TiOC simply means, maybe it's an acronym that explains that it's a 3-in-1 camera. That is a 3-in-1 camera that offers full-time protection before, during, and after an event with our innovative integration of smart door light technology and active deterrence. So in this case, there are 3 components which have been put into one camera to suggest its name as TiOC, but this is a 2.0. So we have the smart door lighting, we have the active deterrence ability. Again, we have artificial intelligence in terms of its performance and features. So in each and every of these 3 components put into one camera, then suggest the name TiOC. So for these 3 components will be described in future slides through this presentation. Okay. So with this TiOC product family, it comes with the different types of lenses. We have the fixed focal lens, the varifocal lens series, and again, the varifocal eyeballs. So this is a new product that has been added to this product family. So you take a look at this fixed focal series. We have the IPC-HFW. This is for the bullet series, WeSense 3. The X here is basically going to define the type of the resolution the camera can handle. Let's say, for example, 4 megapixels, 5 megapixels, and 4K resolution. Then we have 4 here to dictate that this camera has an AI generation, and the function basically full color. So what we have here, T1, that's basically going to define the body of the product. AS, we have some other features. So for example, we have supports audio alarm and speaker. Then this basically for perimeter protection. Product version series 4 or S4. So what we have here, HDW, this is basically an IPC, but is no longer bullet, but rather an eyeball with the same properties as the first bullet. That is, Sense 3 category, an undefined resolution type, which can either be 4 megapixels, 5 megapixels, or 8 megapixels, or a 4K resolution, with an AI generation category, maybe the generation that is, and again the function, the full function for this particular camera, that's a full color enhanced device. So if you take a look at this, it's basically some other added functionalities to this particular product, supporting audio alarm and then the perimeter protection, this other end. So on this fixed focal series for the TiOC, the fixed focal series for the TiOC, this is what we'll end up having. Now, it has this range of resolutions from 4 to 5 to 8 megapixels. And then again, the lens size can either be 2.8 millimeters or 3.6 millimeters. So 2.8 millimeters for this eyeball and 3.6 millimeters for the bullet device. Then this has a lux value of 0.003 with an f value of 1.0. So this f value of 1.0 will detect the size of the aperture for this particular camera. So the smaller the aperture, the bigger the smaller the f value, the bigger the aperture for the camera. So this aperture is basically the size of the window that allows the camera to pick enough light sources just to ensure that it produces those high quality images. So alongside having a larger aperture, the product supports smart dual lighting. So we have different modes that the camera can support. We have 3 modes: the smart illumination mode, the IR mode, and the warm light mode. So these are some of the key features that this TiOC product family provides. Alongside having the smart dual lighting with the 3 modes, again, the product has built-in dual mic and speaker to realize two-way communication. So for it having the dual mic, it's basically going to capture high quality audible audio from the surroundings where that particular camera is installed. And again, a speaker just to realize the two-way communication between the person where the camera is and the other person who's remotely placed. So apart from that, the camera then supports sound and light alarm. We have the sound and light alarm, and that light alarm is basically going to be provided by these red and blue lights. You can see them here, red and blue lights. Again, another key function that this product has is basically smart motion detection 4.0, whereby it has a high accuracy rate of detecting human beings and the vehicles, supports perimeter protection, and again has some other AI self-scene adaptation and AI coding, just to ensure that whatever has been captured is basically going to take a lot of, take less storage space within the hard drives. Then in the event, let's say, for example, we don't want to have so many notifications, the product offers you one-tap arming and disarming ability, either from through the mobile application or the interface of your recorders. You just tap, then again, you stop receiving those notifications any other time. From the fixed focal series, we'll take a look at the varifocal lenses. So these fixed focal series are the kind of cameras whereby the lenses of the product cannot be adjusted. So the lens is either 2.8 millimeters or again 3.6 millimeters, and no any other size that can be adjusted from those fixed focal. Take a look at this varifocal series. They'll support these 3 resolution types: 4 megapixels, 5 megapixels, and 4K resolution. And these lens sizes can be adjusted from 2.7 millimeters all the way through to 13.5 millimeters in size. So in this case, since they have they're varifocal products, the lenses can be adjusted manually or using the motorized ability. So the same product again support the same value of the lux value is, for example, 0.003 with 1.0 f value that support a bigger aperture, just to allow the camera to inject a lot of light inside it to produce better images. So similar to some of these functions that we had before for the fixed focal series, we find that again they're repeated on this product model. So we have the smart dual lighting that has 3 modes. There's a built-in dual mic to capture better audible sounds from the surrounding. Then again, a speaker to enable it to realize the two-way talk between the two different parties or two different places. We have sound and light alarm. The light alarm, let's say, for example, that we have the red and blue lights, and the sound, we have some customized sounds that can be uploaded to the camera through the application itself. Alongside all these deterring abilities, the product has a smart motion detection 4.0 for accurate detection of humans and the vehicles again. Supports perimeter protection. In this case, you can set some rules just to ensure that in the time they are violated, the camera can deter the intruders by producing this sound and the light alarms. Again, because of the different environmental changes, the product itself has this AI self-scene adaptation just to adjust according to the different, for example, weather environments or the weather patterns. Then we have, again, supports the AI coding just to ensure that whatever the camera captures can be stored on the hard drives with little space or consumption, and then again, retaining the quality of what has been captured. One-tap arming and disarming is another feature, again, just like what we had before on the fixed focal lenses. So in this case, then again, in terms of protection, the product is highly protected against shock and impact. And this is only for the domes, not for the bullets. So the domes support the IK10. That's the impact protection against impact to a certain height. Then we have the new product that is the varifocal eyeball. So what we had here before is basically a fixed focal, bullet, and eyeball. Varifocal, we have bullet and the domes, but now we have a new product for the varifocal, that is the eyeball. So it will share the same properties. It shares the same properties because it has the same key performance parameters here. For example, we have the smart dual lighting, the 3 modes, built-in dual mic and speaker to realize the two-way talk. Again, we have sound and light alarm, the smart motion detection, the perimeter protection, AI SSAs, and the AI coding, alongside one-tap arming and disarming. So we have more other upcoming products, that is the TiOC dual series. So I think this now the only key notable difference between the upcoming products, the dual series, with these other products that we've mentioned, is that this dual series will be in a position to give us a wide field of view. That's a maximum to 180 degrees wide, sharing the same properties that we had before for the fixed focal length series, the varifocal series, and the varifocal eyeball product again. So the only difference is that now this will come with a superior field of view when it comes to projecting what has been captured. Then alongside having the dual lens, that is for the 180 degrees field of view, this again will support the electronic panning, tilting, and zooming, the APTZ. So zooming and target tracking. And again, I believe this will give more target areas for ensuring that you can track the items to generate more detailed from what has been captured. So in this case, the fixed focal, varifocal, and this varifocal eyeball all come with 4, 5, and 8 megapixels, except the TiOC Duo series, which will come with 4 megapixels, 6 megapixels, and 8 megapixels in terms of its resolution. So from the product overview, getting to know what TiOC is and some other TiOC product families, let's take a look at some key features that make this product different from the other pack. Okay. So here we have some major improvement in terms of the key highlighted features for the TiOC 2.0. So in this case, we start describing these features clockwise from the smart motion detection all through to the smart dual lighting. So, or we can do it anti-clockwise, it doesn't matter at all. So in this case, this will support the smart dual light. We've mentioned that before. That gives the camera the ability to switch in between the 3 modes of lighting. So it can switch illuminators through its artificial intelligence features. And again, we have the smart illumination mode, the IR mode, and the white light mode. So we're going to describe this more next in the next slides. So these are the 3 modes that we have, and this will intelligently switch in between those particular modes in the event there are some alarm triggers that have been detected. So alongside that, we have the built-in dual mic and speaker. That is for better noise reduction and facilitation of the two-way talk communication between 2 parties who are placed in different regions. One-tap arming and disarming. One-tap disarming. In this case, this option gives the user the full control, full event control notifications, whereby if, let's say, for example, you're within the scene where the cameras are and you don't want to be distracted by those so many notifications, you can always disable those notifications from being generated and sent to your mobile phone. So in the event, let's say, for example, you are away from that event, the scene, you can always use one-tap arming just to enable those push notifications to your phone again. Then we have the smart search. This is another feature that has been added to this TiOC 2.0 within the WeSense category. And in this case, for the feature to be fully functional, you have to combine the cameras with an AI or maybe a smart NVR that's basically going to support those smart search features to perform refined intelligent search, event extraction, and merging to event videos. So in this case, the smart search with the combination of a smart NVR will achieve this function. Then we have the real 5MP. That is a 6:9 display on it from the cameras. So in this case, 60 to 95 MP better fit common HD displays and achieve undistorted image performance. So in this case, all the images produced by this camera, or maybe the images captured by the camera on the display screens, they're going to be proportionally put so that what you see different from the human eye and what has been generated by the camera, they look similar. There's no that much changes or differences. So all the images will be put into scene or maybe consideration proportionately. So apart from that, there's this other artificial intelligent self-scene adaptation. And this basically a way of adopting these deep learning algorithms to adjust the parameters of the image to suit the conditions where the camera has been installed. So in this case, if let's say, for example, the environment is a little bit foggy or maybe smoky, the camera will still adapt to those changes and ensure that it provides you with better images and videos any other time. Then we have the perimeter protection. This is basically perimeter protection to recognize the humans and the vehicles, humans and vehicles. so that in the event some of the rules which have been set based on these two filters, what can happen is that an alarm trigger will be activated, and that the TiOC 2.0 active deterrence camera will fend off the intruders or one of the intruders from proceeding on to what they intended to do. Now, the other main key feature is basically the smart motion detection 4.0 that's basically going to enable the camera to reduce a lot of false alarms caused by some other non-essential alarm triggers, such as animals, flashy bright lights. We have leaves falling, or maybe, for example, rain or water. So in this case, detect color information of the targets very much clearly. So with all these, you'll find that now the camera will be providing you with better image qualities, either during the day or during the night. So let's take a look at some of these key features as we proceed on. So the main highlights for the TiOC 2.0 based on the WeSense category, we're going to highlight or maybe expound more on some of these features based on the following items: the dual lighting, the voice capture, better imaging ecosystem, and some of the AI features included into this particular camera. So I will start with the dual lighting, smart dual lighting, then give some descriptions on just to elaborate keenly for you guys to understand what normally happens when the camera has detected either humans or the vehicles. And again, how, let's say, for example, those red and blue lights are going to be activated the event some rules have been broken or the intruders have gone to areas that are restricted. So we'll start with the following. The smart dual lighting modes. So what we have, the product has 3 modes, and we have this smart illumination mode, the IR mode, and the warm light mode. So in this case, each and every of those particular lightings have different functionalities. And we start with the first one, that's the smart illumination mode. So this mode is always set to be the default mode, and again enables switching between the IR mode and the warm light mode when the target is detected. So, or let's say, for example, when you need to get to see colorful images during the night when a certain target has been detected. Then we have the IR mode. So we have the IR mode here. So in this case, IR mode is the only IR illuminator is going to be on when, let's say, for example, in sections, or maybe suitable for scenes where supplementary warm light is not required. That's reducing what you call the light pollution, where we have, let's say, for example, the warm light and the IR light being activated at the same time. So you can only activate this when you do not need to have any kind of supplementary warm light in that environment. Then we have the white light mode. And this white light mode, it's going to be activated. Only warm light is on, and it's basically suitable for scenes that require color video images. So let's say, for example, during the night, this is still going to be on, assuming that we've left this to be the default mode. If there are no any activities, the camera switches to the IR mode. But if there are some activities and let's say the 2 filters, human and vehicle, have been detected within that particular scene, and you need to have, let's say, for example, colorful images to record what is happening, then the camera switches from IR to the warm light, just for the purposes of receiving those colorful images. So the minute those intruders, or maybe those 2 target filters, are away from that particular scene, then the camera again intelligently switches from white light to the IR light again. So let's take a look at a description of what the pre-lighting work. So we have this. We have the smart dual light, and that is going to give us the most comprehensive illumination method. So this smart illumination mode adopts DAWA's deep learning algorithm to detect different types of targets. And this is what you're going to have from this number of frames here. So take a look at the first frame. The camera, this is an eyeball camera. It's basically going to be using its IR mode during the night, simply because just to reduce those chances of having light pollution. So we have the IR at night, protecting the environment. Then again, we have some monitoring area and the rule areas. So the minute, let's say, for example, this individual walks into this monitoring area, what will happen? The camera intelligently switches from IR to the warm light, just to ensure that it can capture or record the images in colorful images. Then, assuming this particular intruder walked into this particular red rule area, what will happen is that through the intelligent active deterrence capability of this particular camera here, will warn off the intruder by producing, activating the red and the blue lights, and yet again, producing those customized alarms just to fend off that particular intruder. So at the same time, the intruder will get to see the lights, and again, will hear some information from this camera. Then the minute the intruder walks away from the monitoring area or the rule area, the camera now switches back intelligently from the white light or the warm light to the IR light again. So it keeps on switching in between the three, the event, the intruders get to this monitoring area, and again, for the active deterrent is when the intruder gets into the rule area that you can see here. So in this case, this kind of a product is suitable for scenes that require color video footage, but sensitive to light pollution. So in this case, basically going to enable the users to get to see the events more clearly, to get more detailed information about what has occurred at those particular areas. So we have places that are more suitable, for example, residential street, whereby you're not supposed to, let's say, for example, park at different sections that are not allowed. We have the villas, and again, we have the shops, the entrances of different retail shops or any other place that you need to have it covered. So in this case, there's some other features which can be enabled to this particular product. Let's say, for example, can do illumination by schedule, again, setting times to give different customized messages to the clients. For example, the day you welcome the client, the minute they step into, for example, the rule area here. So during the night, again, as they set their feet into the rule areas, then again, the camera can produce some other warnings in terms of customized alarms and customized voice prompts, and again, producing the red and blue light. So let's take a look at the actual scenes from the three different lightings. So if you take a look at this is the first scene. This is only going to, okay, just allow me to pause these sections here so that you can take a look at each one at a time. So this is the first image here, the first function for the smart illumination. So realize, since there's no movement, the camera will capture the scenes in black and white. But if it detects some motion through the smart motion detection, So fine, and now the camera, what will do, is basically going to switch between the IR and the warm light again, just to ensure that it can capture the events in colorful images. So the user again went ahead and stepped into the rule area. You can see some red and blue light flashing to show that it has warned that intruder by the warning lights and the customized voice prompts. So on this other, the IR mode, if you set this to be the default mode, what will happen is that in the event that user just steps into this particular section here, what will happen is that the camera will not switch between the IR and the warm light. So what will happen is that the camera will simply flash the warm light just to deter that individuals from proceeding on from where they're not supposed to be, or to go further. This is for the warm light mode. If you select this warm light mode to be on, what will happen is that during the day, during the night, all the video footages which are going to be captured by the camera will always be in color format. So in this case, you just dictated or maybe decided the camera to only to always produce colorful images, as you can see from these three modes. So this intelligently switches in between the IR and the warm light. If you choose this, it stays or maybe remains to be black and white during the night. And at this, again, if you choose the warm light to be on, it will always provide you these pictures or maybe videos or more. Yeah, the videos and images in color format. Then we have the voice catcher as the second highlight as the key feature for this product. So when we began, we said that this camera has a dual mic in it. And the purpose of having this dual mic, this particular camera, is just to ensure that it can intercept external circuits interferences between the different audios or voice prompts, maybe voice captures from different sections of where the camera is. So it can actually pick the noise, or maybe not the noise, but actually can pick the voice or the audio from the environment, and those audio is basically going to be based on the human audio, then intercepting any other kind of external source interferences just to filter it out to ensure that it has better audible signals. So apart from having this, is basically the distance to which it can capture those audio from the environment has been elongated to a distance of 7 more meters from the previous distance. Then again, this because we have a longer distance range of capturing the audio from the environment, we find that now it can reduce and extract audible audio signals from the environment, just filtering up, just to ensure that we have high quality audio generated from those particular cameras. So for the voice catcher, produces pure voice and further distance in terms of capturing the audio from that environment. So it has dual mic, which are very high sensitive and can capture the slightest audio from the environment. Alongside it, we have the newly designed audio acquisition circuit that's basically going to be intercepting some external interferences. Then we have the high definition that was self-developed noise reduction algorithm, whereby this supports high performance SoC, or maybe high performance systems on chip. So this system on chips basically some small mini computer on a chip that does all the computing work, leaving out the processor to have other duties to take care of. So you can take a look at this, the audio captured from the external sources, then again the audio that has been filtered out from those external interferences. So this gives you a finer tune, finer audible signals. So this is basically more on trying to elaborate the voice catcher's ability. So in this case, from the lab environment, the previous generated TiOC single mic and the TiOC 2.0 with a dual mic array are simultaneously tested, and that they pick up the same, tested to pick up the same sound source. And the findings are as follows. So in this case, the TiOC 2.0 with a dual mic array can generate reduced noise and extract useful audio signals, while the single mic gets high noise signals. So if you take a look at this again, the second maybe generated report is that this pickup distance increased by 7 meters. And again, we have some thing to note that we have 65 decibel. That is the normal voice when a person speaks. So this implies that this can stretch further 7 meters away from that individual and still get to hear those quality audio. So on the active deterrence part of this TiOC 2.0 VSS 3 category, you need provides effective deterrence against intruders. So in this case, this basically going to give us the highlight of some of the components, maybe the key parts for this camera. So the product will give the red and blue light flashing, while the siren makes the warning sound to deter the intruder. So those two will always go hand in hand, the alarm plus the red and blue flashing light. So you can see them here at the face of the camera, red and blue deterrent light. And then again, we have a built-in speaker for sound alarm. This is basically going to be beneath the product itself, the two products. So this is a bullet, this is the eyeball. So this is a new varifocal eyeball that has a built-in mic and a warm light again. So this again, we have some warm lights here. So within this ball here, somewhere here beneath it, we're going to have the speaker. So two-way talk communication and customized alarm voice audios can be done to these particular cameras. So we have an active deterrence dome. We have the similar product here. So restricted area no trespassing. This is one example of a customized voice audio alarm that can be generated from this particular product. Then we have, let's say, for example, warning intrusion has been detected. If I announce, that's another alarm warning that can be produced by this camera at the same time, producing the red and the blue light just to fend off the intruder completely. So we have different scenes where we can have these cameras installed or mounted. So this, for example, this is a construction scene. This, for example, a warehouse. You can have it at home places. You can have them at our streets. And again, you can have them, for example, in parks, etc., just to ensure that it enhances the safety of individuals and individuals' property. So if you take a look at this, the other common functions basically generation of the better images. So in this case, this is support new low light image experience. And this new low light image experience is basically powered by the optical path compensation technology. And the camera can correct the image of refraction of different light rays, allowing DAWA's IPC to input brighter and clearer black and white images with its super large aperture lens, whereby it is the first of its kind in the market. So in this case, you can take a look at the differences between these two images. So this one does not have that optical path compensation, but this has the optical path compensation enabled to it again. You can see the images, maybe the trees are about fuzzy. The edges of the picture are a little bit darker. Take a look at this. The details of the tree are much clearer, and the edges of the picture are a bit brighter. So with this optical path compensation, that's another feature that basically makes the product's images more better during the night, again during the day. So still on the better image, with that new light image experience, we have some IR cameras on the market that mostly have 1.6 aperture. So meaning that the size of the window that allows the light to get to the camera is not that bigger, that compares to the DAWs innovatively adopting the 1.0 super large aperture, which greatly improves the image quality because of the size of the window that allows the image, the light to get the camera to produce those colorful images. So remember that those lights are supposed to be converted into electrical energy that's basically going to produce those colorful images. So in this case, you can take a look at this section here. This is a tree that's basically slightly away from a region of interest. So this is away from it, and realize now the background looks a little bit shady, or maybe, for example, darker. But still, because of this other 1.0 super aperture enabled camera, you find that the event, this is still the region of interest, but you can still see clearly the items which are behind our region of interest. You can see from this particular point. So the whole image is sharper and brighter, but the edges are basically clearer. For this 1.0 f value with a bigger super aperture for this. So the aperture again is simply good to detect the performance of the camera. So we have some other bigger apertures, we have some smaller apertures again, and again the aperture is basically that window that will regulate the amount of light that will come to the camera to produce those colorful images, either during the night or during the day. So then again, we have to ensure that we know the placements of these particular cameras in terms of readjusting the lenses, because at some point you can readjust the lens, then I find out the camera it's allowing too much light, and that too much light interferes with the color imaging of the camera. Then again, find that some point you might find that you can adjust the aperture, then you find that again the window is resized into a smaller size, then again will not allow enough light to penetrate to the camera to produce those colorful images. So here we're only talking about the varifocal types of lenses. If for the fixed lenses, those fixed lenses cannot be adjusted in any way. So just choose the locations appropriately where you can have the cameras placed. So we have bright and sharper 4K image in terms of its resolution. So we have the f value of 1.0 that supports large super aperture that collects 1.96 times the amount of light compared with a camera that has an f value of 1.4 aperture size, so of the previous generation of the TiOC. So this will produce more light and brighter images. And then again, there's another concept of the frames per second for the different types of cameras based on the different resolution types that it can handle. So we have 25 to 30 frames per second. This will produce, maybe provide you with a real-time video even when the AI is enabled. While the previous generation of the AI, TiOC only, will only offer 20 frames per second. So you can't compare a camera that has 20 frames per second with one that supports 25 to 30 frames per second. So this will have many frames that will give complete detailed images, while the one that has 20 frames per second will be producing non-real-time imaging, meaning that there are some sections which have been cut out during, for example, the compression time. And anytime you try to move from one page to another page, you find that in between there's some missing frames. So that product image cannot be said to be real time, but rather non-real time. So you can take a look at this difference here. We have a real-time image with an unreal-time image. So with an unreal-time image tends to have some ghosting left behind. So you can see, let's say, for example, below this arm, the elbow, there's another section here that has been protruded. So these are basically some of the ghostings that can be produced if the image is not a real-time image. So we have different resolutions for different frames per second for different cameras. For example, you have, let's say, 30 frames per second at 2 megapixels. Let's say, for example, 25 frames per second at 5 megapixels, or 4K resolutions with different types of frames per second. For example, 25 to 30 frames per second. So it depends with the type of camera product that you have at your disposal. Then still on the beta image, we have the red and blue light image interference elimination. So we'll take a look at more examples with this based on these two short video clips here. So the difference between these two is basically the hardware and the software upgrades. And the new TiOC S4 version product supports to eliminate the light interference caused by the red and blue light, the red and blue warning light. So at your display screens, let's say, for example, when an intruder has been detected by the TiOC camera, you find that now the TiOC camera will start warning that intruder by producing those red and blue light at the same time producing the sound alarms. So if you are at the monitoring center, you'll find that now the quality of the image captured through the display screens tends to be interfered with a little bit. So you cannot get to see the clear, detailed information about what has been captured by the TiOC camera. So, but with the use of this red and blue light image interference, we find that, yes, the outside, the camera will produce those red and blue light alongside the sound alarms. But on the display screens, if you're monitoring what is happening, you're not going to get to see this red and blue light. So that's basically going to eliminate that interference for you to get to see clear details, precise details of what is happening at the outside. So the old TiOC version product image was affected by the red and blue light interference when the camera activate the active deterrence is triggered, that is, and making the target details not so pure. You can take a look at this. An intruder walks into this particular area, but on the display screen can see those interferences. You can see the green, the blue and the red. Now, once the user just at this particular point, it ends up distorting the image quality of what has been captured. You can see again, it's not clear. It's not the image is not that clearer or better at a given point. Now let's take a look at this this upgrade. This is what will happen. Now take a look at this. The user just walks past that particular section the camera is. The camera detects that this is an intruder, then again flashes those red and blue light at the same time with the audio, maybe the sound, the customized voice alarm. So what happens at the display screen, you don't have those red and blue light because of that time sharing difference. So these are some of the key features that makes the image better for this TiOC 2.0 S4. Let's proceed on. Then we have the ecosystem arming and disarming through the alarm input. So here we're told that the TiOC 2.0 can be connected to these other traditional systems. It still offers one-tap arming and disarming through the alarm input. It allows usage of existing systems for alarm linkage and control, providing better user experience, that is. So in this case, you can actually combine some of those traditional alarm systems with your TiOC 2.0 and still achieve better performance in terms of security. So we have different options here. Option 1, we have the arming and disarming through an alarm button, which is connected with the camera's alarm input. Or the second option is basically you can use those arming and disarming features through the DMSS application of your mobile phone. So we have multiple ways just ensuring that you can arm and disarm the product. So in this case, we have these other combinations whereby the TiOC camera is going to act as the linkage. We have the video intercoms, we have the curtain PARs, we have the doors and the windows contact. We have the panic button, we have the PIR sensors, and again, we have the alarm hub. So this alarm hub is connected to all these particular products, at the same time integrated with the TiOC 2.0 camera product. So having these two options, you can arm and disarm the product at any point, anywhere away from where the devices are. So you don't have to worry about those alarms produced by those particular cameras. So those can be armed at the same time, can be disarmed through the two different options or methods that we've seen this slide here. So on the one tap disarming function, so which is the switch for event linkage, and this can be turned off and recover event linkage through the mobile applications, the web application, maybe the web portal of the camera. And again, we can achieve those by going through the NVR, which meets the different multi-scenarios needed to control the event messages settings. So in this case, we have two options that are actually going to facilitate how the arming and disarming and type of this kind of messages that one can choose to receive. So in this case, we have the previous models. We had the following processes. We have one arming and disarming. If you enable it, you find that you have alarm input. You can send email messages, can send audio linkages at the same time, can send the warning light. So users still receive all the event notification through the DMSS or the DSS application. So, but with the current products, one can choose only the events that one needs to receive through their application phone. Let's say, for example, if you tap it on, we have a choice to have alarm output port enabled. You have a choice to have the email enabled. You have a choice to have the audio linkage, the warning light, etc. So if you only choose event notifications, those are the notifications that are going to have sent to you. Let's say if there are some warning notifications, again, that is what we are going to receive. So users only receives the event related to the device that one has selected, such as, let's say, for example, device error, the network error, and so on. Let's move on to something different. based on still on the ecosystems. You can achieve the connection between the device with your mobile phone. So one, you can receive and check the alarm notifications quickly. The product supports a smart motion detection, so meaning that it can filter out those false alarms or any other alarm triggers that basically going to produce those false alarms. At the same time, it can focus on human and vehicle targets. So these human and vehicle targets are basically the type of filters that you expect to produce those true alarm triggers, maybe true alarms. Through the DMSS, again, you can check the footage anyway. There is easy access through the mobile applications, and again can achieve two-way talk for quicker responses between you, whichever place you are, with the person who's where the camera is. So we've been talking about this one-tap arming and disarming. Again, it's basically easier to operate. So if you're using your phone and you're receiving so many notifications while away, maybe, for example, you're in a meeting and you don't want to be disrupted by those notifications, you can actually disarm them so that you just have a peace of mind during those particular events that you have at the moment. Then after these events, for example, a meeting, you can go back and arm those particular notifications from your mobile phone again. Okay. So on ecosystems, again, we have third-party platform access that basically going to allow us to access the devices remotely. So we have, for example, DAO protocol, we have the Hypertext Transfer Protocol APIs or the application programming interfaces. And again, we have the SDKs. Then we have the standard protocol, that's the ONVIF, just to ensure that we have that third-party product application interoperability all through together. So we find that now we have supported features such as live view and playback. We have video and audio parameters configurations. We have events received in different platforms. So third party just again makes a platform makes it easier for you to interconnect or maybe to work with your products remotely from where you are at the moment. So for example, we can use this, for example, the OnVIF. We have different products, maybe same products. That is through the HTTP application program interface application, or we can work with the OnVIF protocols, basically going to make you to interlink those multiple products all together just to achieve that operability. Then we have other third-party platforms just to ensure that we can intercommunicate with the products all through. So I'll share this presentation with you. You can go through these third-party platforms that enables connection of the products all through. Okay. So we have AI features such as the Smart Motion Detection 4.0 and the perimeter protection. So in this case, we all know what SMD is. If the term is not familiar with you, it's basically a short form for Smart Motion Detection. That function is basically to analyze the persons and the vehicle shapes based on the motion detection and sends the alarms when a person or a vehicle has been detected for intrusion. So in this case, we have different levels of smart motion detections. We have smart motion detection plus, smart motion detection 3.0, and smart motion detection 4.0. So in this case, each and every of those levels of the smart motion detections comes with different levels of accuracy. And this 4.0 gives you that 99% accuracy rate. So you find that there's one key to enable, that's the alarm trigger. And then again, and these alarm triggers are basically going to be based on humans and the vehicles. So eliminating all the other false alarm rates by 1%. And again, filters what will cause the false alarms, such as rain or water, leaves, animals, for example, insects, and flash bright lights from different sources again. So we have the following. For example, this could be a farm. In a farm, we have a number of animals and some other items. So in the farm, we have combination of animals, the combination of, for example, the farmers who are humans, and again, the vehicles, just to facilitate the functionalities of the farm itself. So this product will only detect or maybe produce those alarms based on the vehicles and the human beings, then reducing or filtering out all these alarm animals, because they will end up producing those false alarms. So we have 99% accuracy rate because of the smart motion detection 4.0. There's a small animal false alarm rate is basically going to be less than 0.5. And again, large animal false alarm rates basically going to be less than 2%. So in this case, that is the work of the smart motion detection. When it comes to the perimeter protection, okay. So the other feature, that's perimeter protection. That's based on the tripwire and the area intrusion rules, which have been set by the user, that can send the alarms when unwanted movements triggered by the humans and vehicles occur within that particular scene. Then it can help avoid unnecessary false alarms. So in this case, the perimeter protection again will work based on the smart motion detection. And again, this is a smart protection, implying that it can filter those alarm triggers based on these two filters here. Unlike the traditional IVS, whereby any of these elements could trigger, could trigger the alarms. So you can set different rules. Let's say, for example, a tripwire here, or you can set an intrusion area, meaning that if any of these two tries to violate these particular rules, then the alarms will be triggered. But let's say, for example, an alarm gets too near to this particular wall, or maybe birds flying across the wall, they'll not cause the alarms to be triggered. So we have some comparisons here between the different levels of the smart motion detection in terms of accuracy rate and what the distances to which it can detect the humans and vehicles. And again, some of the small animals alarm rates and the large animal alarm rates again. So we have, let's say, for example, smart motion detection plus will give an accuracy rate of 98%. The smart motion detection, 99%, and smart motion detection 4.0, 99% again. When it comes to the human detection, this can support up to 6 meters. That's for the 2.8 millimeters fixed focal camera. And again, for the smart motion detection, the distance doubles to 12 meters alongside the 99%, that is 12 meters again. On the vehicle detection, because vehicles are bigger than the human beings, we find that now the distance between the human and the vehicle is basically going to be a difference of 3 meters away. And the smart motion detection 3.0 provides 18 meters distance. And again, this is similar to the 1999 smart motion detection 4.0. In terms of these small animals false alarm rate, you find that now the accuracy rate of the false alarms reduces considerably to 0.5% when you get to SMD 4.0. The quick pick function, it's only this SMD 4.0 supports, whereby you can pick items based on the two target filters, the humans and the vehicles. So quick pick target search is another feature based on the artificial intelligence ability of this WeSense 3 TiOC 2.0. So this is the smart search feature that is another way to filter two targets, humans and vehicles, by the playback page. So in this case, select the human and vehicle checkbox in the menu that shows marked fragments. For example, this section here, you can choose either human and vehicles. These are the marked fragments. So these are the only fragments whereby they're basically going to show all these, the elements that we prefer most, the humans and the vehicles. Then it will help you quickly locate when these particular two alarm targets or filters appeared within the different frames captured by the cameras. So instead of playing back all these other non-essential things that you're looking for, it only concentrates on these two elements, the humans and the vehicles only. So let's take a look at the application scenarios, the third part of today's training. So we have public areas. This can be used well, for example, fire exits or emergency exit lanes, which must be kept clear at all times, away from any kind of obstructions or the blockages. So in the event there's any kind of emergencies, we find that now the exit is clear and these water trucks can actually find a way of exiting that section to go and respond to those emergencies. So by the event there's a vehicle parked along this entrance here, again, the camera can warn that particular person that that is not an area, not one area for doing the parking purposes. So you have fire exits and emergency exits again. So alongside you have private places again. You are not allowed to park along, let's say, for example, in front of different homes. So we have the wall sides, we have the garage doors, or maybe, for example, anywhere within the perimeters of this particular home. The advantage is that you can have colorful monitoring, there's active deterrence, there's two-way talk. You can actually ask the person to move their objects, either vehicles or motorbikes, from the areas that are restricted. So the product information for this, let's take a look at this. We have different product types, different series, different pictures, product models. We have different official models for the products and the material code. So that distinguishes between the different products. So this is a TiOC version 2, S4. We have a fixed focal bullets, and we have the fixed focal eyeballs. So these lenses cannot be altered at any given time. So take a, these are the product models. This shows that this is a 2.8 millimeters. These are 3.6 millimeters. Take a look at different page. We have the varifocal bullets, the varifocal domes and eyeballs again. So the lenses can be adjusted from 2.7 millimeters to roughly 12 to 13.5 millimeters in distance. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's presentation. all about the WeSense 3 TiOC 2.0 S4 product for active deterrence. So for those who need the presentation and the audio and the video, share with them. You can drop your email addresses here. I hope everyone got the link that I shared yesterday that has some other previous classes. So I'll be using the same directory to store the videos and share the link with you. So in the event you want to go back and preview the previous lessons or trainings, you can always use the same channel. You'll find the updated videos on that particular location again. So for those who still need to have the link shared with them, you can drop your email addresses at that point. For those who had already shared the email addresses, there's no need of sharing as long as you received the link. Okay, Kevin Onduko, you can share your email address here. I'm going to share the link through the email address. Now let's go back to the question that Wandera had asked before. So Wandera had asked what could be the reasons why the camera could lose its smart motion detection features over time. So one probable cause for that is the firmware for the product. You need to upgrade the firmware for the product, or again, could have the faulty sensor. So, but the most probable reason is firmware upgrade. So just do a firmware upgrade. It will retain its features back. Wandera, hoping that is okay.
Okay. Yes, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other question? So if there are no more other questions, just allow me to exit the meeting so that I prepare the file. Then share the file with you through the link. Oh, there's another question here. Brian is asking, why is it that sometimes the camera becomes very bright to an extent you can't see anything? So Brian tried to modify the picture modes through the following functions: the BLC, HLC, and the WDR. So just try to alter those functions. You're going to restore some of the images clearly. So thank you so much. I'm going to exit everyone as I prepare the file and the link to be shared through your email addresses. Thank you so much and have a good day.